If you didn't know, Build 42 is closer than ever, as in probably like a couple months away. I don't know, don't ask me. But what I do know is what's confirmed to be in it, which, if you didn't know, a couple of things were cut from the release, and multiplayer won't be available. Which all really sucks, but, you know, it is what it is. Basements are coming, which is pretty self-explanatory. They're going to be randomly generated, so random ones will appear in different locations, although some will be permanently affixed on the map. The height limit for the engine has been increased to 32 floors, meaning tall skyscrapers can now be made, although I think the engine can do actually more than that, but that's all we're going to see for now on the map. With all those new floors, there have been a lot of new performance-saving measures put in place. The game now has chunk caching, which think of it as like a Minecraft-like chunk on the screen that gets updated when that chunk is updated, so it saves a ton of performance, especially at higher resolution screens. Plus, the game now has a depth buffer, which lets the engine tell what's in front of things, not to render behind them. One of the things I'm really excited about, which I bet no one else is this really cool tech that the Indie Stone is using to give the 2D sprites 3D hitboxes, which makes them boolean cut the mesh out, which means in English that they'll make the characters better interact with their environments, so things like sitting in chairs is possible. Again, pretty self-explanatory, but we're getting a new lighting system, and it's pretty advanced. It lets light bounce off walls and go through windows, and kind of cast these pseudo-shadows. Now, instead of just clicking a menu, crafting will be performed on surfaces in the game world, like counters, or more advanced crafting stations, including kilns, workstations, anvils, etc. This in itself is going to bring a bunch of new crafting types, including pottery, metallurgy, brewing our own alcohol, stone working, and plenty of makeshift weapon crafting, which has new occupations and skills to boot. All of that brings tons of new items and weapons to make in your world, with an entirely new crafting interface. We're finally getting animals, with full tracking and group simulation, and hunting of course applies. In addition, we're getting an overhaul for farming, which will allow us to farm new crops and add pests to the list of things to take care of. There are also plenty of new herbs and spices to make and grow. They've updated the engine to be able to handle negative X and Y coordinates, so now the map can be expanded in the north and west, which will have a larger rural area, and eventually a ton of new other stuff. Speaking of the map, now instead of having a big empty border that abruptly just ends with the void, we're going to have a procedurally generated forest and wilderness. Not infinite, but very big, whatever that means. Now the player has a voice, enough said. Now instead of just clicking a sub-menu for fishing, we actually have a mini-game. On top of all of that, we have heaps of items, weapons, containers, armor, clothing, furniture, you name it, there's more of it. And there's plenty more features with that. Please, go look at the Zomboid website if you want to read about it, since that's where I get all of my info from. Peace.